Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good vibes, good energy, good people. It's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe right now. Also, if you want to support my brand, it's inspiredbydreams.shop, and I appreciate all the love I've been getting. Love you guys, and let's just get into it. Okay, today's conversation surrounds Black Americans and African Americans. This whole dynamic and the whole differences and similarities, it's been a back and forth. We're going to try to resolve all of this because in the end, we got, and we are all one. When we realize that, we can form peace and we can start respecting each other more. So let's just jump into this conversation, see what you guys think, leave your comments down below, and thanks for tuning in. Let's get it.
Mickey made it. Mickey made what you made, Mickey.
Salute. Good people.
Salute, Mickey.
Good people.
Grand rising to you.
Mickey made it. What's up, man? Salute.
Yes, sir.
We did not all come from Africa. We all came from melanated people who were Africans, Europeans, Australians, Asians. Science states that at one point there was Pangea, right? And all of the countries that were named by white people and given their titles by white people, but that's another story for a different video, were at one point one landmass, right? That doesn't mean that Africa was the only geographical space. It just means that all of the landmasses were one landmass, but Africa was still there. Europe was still there. North America, South America were still there. Asia was still there. Australia was still there. Antarctica was still there. You see what I'm getting at? These landmasses still existed.
Recognize that this may be a hard concept for people to grasp because we have been brainwashed for so long and because our history is not told by the people that look like us, but melanated people were everywhere, on every continent. Meaning it is incorrect to say that everybody descended from Africa. That's not true.
I got a question. What do you prefer to be called? Black or African American or both? Like you don't have a preference? I'm personally okay with both, but I do prefer to be called Black. Now, before y'all get on me, yes, I know that one is a race identification and one is an ethnic identification. But multiple truths exist, and we know that in our own community, some people have a preference, and we know that out in the world, when some people say Black, they mean Black Americans. Black people who use Black to identify race, and people all over the world that are comfortable with that because it brings us a sense of togetherness and community. But there are other people of African descent that do not like using the word Black because they don't want to be associated with Black Americans.
I know Black. Imposible. I know Black. I'm Dominican. I'm Puerto Rican. I know Black. Be looking just like me.
A lot of Black Americans, African Americans feel like if you don't want to use the word Black, then you shouldn't participate in certain parts of our culture that are unique to us, like the N-word. Some people feel like if you're not a descendant of slavery, then you actually don't have the right to use that word. And that could be another video. A lot of you have been talking about this in my comments and starting interesting conversations, so I just wanted to bring it to the forefront. So, Black, African American, you don't care. And if you're not a Black American, do you mind being called Black? Let me know in the comments.
Okay, I have a question, and I am welcoming every opinion on this. I just got a DM and somebody told me, stop speaking on Black issues, you are not Black. They are right. I'm not Black. I'm African. But does that disqualify me from speaking on Black issues that also affect me? And now I'll give you a little background on me. I'm from Africa. I came to the US in 2012. Been here ever since, have never gone back to visit, nothing like that. I did all my schooling here, learned English, learned a lot of things, and I am now a citizen of the US. I still speak my first language because of my family. I am very accustomed to American life. I eat the food, I listen to the music. Almost everything about me is American. I grew up here and have spent more time here than I have in Africa. I am treated as Black in this country. I'm seen as Black. Issues that affect or are strong in the Black community also pertain to me. I'm talking about colorism, texturism, featureism, all of it. Are those issues that I'm not allowed to talk about because I'm not Black American, it is a very hard thing to like talk about and understand because it's confusing. I see myself as African because that's just where I'm from. I don't know, now I just feel like I'm just saying whatever, but actually I do want to talk about this because I feel like that's the reality of a lot of Africans that grow up here, especially the ones who aren't that close to their culture anymore. If you relate to me or have anything or opinions or whatever, feel free to comment.
The 54 countries, only Ethiopia has not been colonized.
So then what's the distinction? Because you guys were actually from the motherland that like
It's the cultural differences.
Because I know you separate yourself like I'm African and this is black. Like this is black. This Black American especially. Like,
well, African American
versus
so,
black.
So what happens with African Americans? They take the word as black. So when they're speaking about black people, they're speaking specifically about African Americans. So a black person from Africa is not going to say I'm a black person. Exactly. They're going to say I'm Nigerian or I'm Somalian or I'm Ethiopian. So the word black is not going to be associated with them. Because their identity is with their nation. So that's why it's a very different thing. But if you hear the word black, you think the association's with everybody. Everybody's associated with that. But it's like, no, that's just a specific group of people.
I don't understand why Africans hate their own people. Like, just because we live in a different country doesn't make us any different than y'all. I mean, sure, our culture is different, but genetically, we're literally the same. And you want to know what's crazy? African people copy American culture, and black people want more of their culture. Like, really? We're literally going in separate directions, and that's what's dividing us. This stupid ignorance on both sides needs to stop. Like, it's honestly so dumb. I can't even believe I'm ranting about it on TikTok right now. Just love everyone. Understand both sides. It's that easy. And honestly, this is something I can read about all day. If you guys are interested, follow me and let me know you want more. Are people serious right now? Like, are we still doing this African versus African American thing?
Facts.
During this time when we are needed to come together the most? Like, are people serious right now? At the end of the day, we all check the same boxes, and I guarantee if we go anywhere around the world, nobody can tell the difference if you're African American, if you're from Nigeria, or if you're from Ghana, or wherever you're from. You are still considered a black person. So whatever this is not important enough for us to be talking about it during this time. We are stronger together as one unity than we are divided. I agree with her. Why are we dividing ourselves now? We are literally dividing ourselves doing stuff like this. Nobody else. Yet when we're supposed to be coming together and become one and fighting an issue that is way greater than this nonsense, this little petty argument thing. Like, this is actually ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. Like I said, we are black. So let's come together as one.
I want to talk about the difference between being African American versus being black from a different country. So I'm 100% Honduran, right? Both sides of my family are from Honduras. And there were certain, like, songs I never heard of, certain things. Like, for example, I did not know how to electric slide. I low-key still don't know how to electric slide. If it's on at, like, a party, I'll get the groove of it. But off the top of my head, I do not know how to do that shit. One time, this girl I used to be cool with, she took me to a cookout, and her family's African American. And when I tell you, I was sitting down uncomfortable the whole time because it was like the culture, the way they were acting is so not what I was used to. Like the music they was listening to, even like the foods. I'm used to there being rice. I was like, where is the rice at? But it's the same thing with my family and my culture. If I brought an African American to like our parties, they would be the fuck confused. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what punta is. They don't speak Spanish. Like, we're not a monolith. Black people are not a monolith.
African Americans. I know for the longest time there's been this narrative that Africans don't like African Americans. I think that that's just wrong. And take it from me, who's an African that now lives in America. Africans genuinely love Black Americans. In fact, Africans think Black Americans are cool, dope, correct, any way you want to look at it. The influence of the African American culture is everywhere. And even down to Africa. Growing up, when my sister goes to the hair salon, she gets what we like to call Alicia Keys. And for the longest time, I thought that hairstyle was Alicia Keys. Not until I was in like high school, I realized that hairstyle was influenced by Alicia Keys. And it is a hairstyle that the whole people of Nigeria know as Alicia Keys. You can just go to a salon right now and just say, oh, I want to get Alicia Keys on my hair. And trust me, they know what you're talking about. Talk about the reality shows. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Miami, all of them. The African American lingo, the expressions, the attitude. It's the reason why people love Black American culture. Growing up in Africa, we go to stores and we purchase shirts that have face of Tupac, Beyonce, Jay-Z on it. Let's just dead this narrative that Africans don't like black Americans. It's not true. It's really not. You know the thing that hits me the most? Being a black person in America, these people don't care. For as long as I look like this, I'm considered a black man, a 6'4" black man.
We were literally obsessed with black America.
Hey, yo, what's good, y'all? So, if you go back and watch his full video, that creator, he's talking about the relationship between black Americans and people from Africa. And he's talking about how influential African Americans were on African culture where he's from. Like, basically, he's talking about how African Americans had a strong influence on the culture of his particular country on the African continent. And he's basically saying that, like, when he was growing up in his country, people in his country, Africans in his country, were obsessed with black Americans. And, like, that video kind of made me smile a little bit. Because he said he basically was talking about how influential black Americans were and how in Africa, in his country, they copy all the trends that black Americans do. They mimic everything black Americans do. Like, they were extremely obsessed with us. It just really made me think about how, y'all know how, like, when people from Africa come to the United States, right? And they, you know, a lot of African immigrants do come here and dog black Americans. Like, they trash talk us so bad. And when we bring up the fact that people from Africa act like they don't like black Americans, one thing that they always try to throw in our face is, oh, well, y'all called us African booty scratchers in elementary school. And we just be looking at them like, wow, that's so petty. Like, you don't like black Americans as an adult because African Americans, you know, picked on you in elementary school. Now, stay with me. I feel like that's legit. So this man was talking about how obsessed people in his country are with black Americans. So let's say, imagine you grew up in a country in Africa, and you know, you grew up in a country where there's nothing but black people around you, but a lot of the black people around you live in like oppressive situations where like the Europeans have come and they have scrambled for Africa, and what they left behind was squabbage that the people are still fighting to get through. And you turn on your TV and you see all of this black greatness on TV from these black people who are from America. You see them on your television, you hear them on your radio, you follow all of their trends, you follow all of their styles, and then you learn about them in history books. And then you learn how these black Americans are connected to you because of the transatlantic slave trade. We are the descendants of the warriors who got taken away. And say you view these black Americans almost like your long lost cousins, these great amazing people you see on TV. And then America is this great amazing country where black people can go and succeed. America is this great country where black Americans fought for people to have rights and privileges and opportunities. Then you come to the United States of America like as a child, and your very first time interacting with black Americans, your very first time, you know, interacting with these people that you like, that you view them as like the people you see on TV. And you come to America as a child and you're interacting with these people in America, these African Americans that you see on television. They're so cool, they're so trendy, they're so stylish, they're so influential. And it's your first time interacting with them, and you don't get nothing that resembles love. They pick on you because of your accent. They make fun of you because you're different. They call you names. They call you African booty scratcher. And the treatment that you receive from them is not love. It's like you spend most of your primary school days being picked on and bullied by black Americans because you're from Africa. Now, we know that that is a problem with colonization. We know that that is a colonized mindset that causes black American children to pick on kids who are from Africa, right? But imagine the hurt that you would experience. Imagine the hurt that you would feel when you grew up in a country where you grew up obsessed with black Americans and black American culture, and then you come to the United States of America, this land of opportunity, and your first time interacting with these people that you grew up being obsessed with, they're bullying you and picking on you, and you deal with this all of your primary school years, you deal with this all the way through high school until you become an adult, when black Americans have finally started decolonizing themselves. And we're saying, oh, we all need to get along. You know, we've all been colonized. And then they're talking to you about how you don't like black Americans, and you say, well, you guys called us African booty scratchers in schools. You guys teased us. You guys made fun of us. And then those same black Americans are telling you that you being upset because African Americans bullied you in school is silly. imagine the hurt that they would feel. I feel like as African Americans, we always, are talking to the diaspora about how they treat Black Americans, because a lot of people in the diaspora really do treat Black Americans like shit when y'all come to our country. But I also feel like as African Americans, we should take accountability for how our American mindset has caused us to view people who are Black from other countries almost as if they are less than us. Because let's be real, America did teach us that kids in Africa are African booty scratchers. America did teach us negative things about Black people from other countries. And I feel like as African Americans, if we want the diaspora to heal, we cannot just sit around and continue to complain about people from other countries looking down on us if we're not going to take accountability for how we made some of them feel when they first came to this country, especially when we were all children. We know that children have a hard time processing feelings, right? And that when you become an adult, the things that happened to you as a child become a part of your core memory. A lot of people from other countries, their core memories are them growing up in countries where they admire and are obsessed with Black Americans, and then coming to America as a child to be bullied, picked on, and outcasted by African Americans. Watching his video just kind of put some things into perspective for me. It really made me think the hurt that African immigrants feel when they come to America and they're outcasted by Black Americans. It is kind of legit, because you grew up in a country where you were obsessed with these African Americans and you viewed us like your long lost cousins who lived across the sea and then came here to be rejected by them. It kind of makes sense why you would grow up feeling some animosity towards us. It does. And I feel like as African Americans, we should take accountability for that.
I want to take the African part of African American off of African Americans, of Black people in America who were born here. I don't know, there's just something about it. White people are not called European Americans, Scottish Americans, British Americans. They're just Americans or Caucasian. So I think we should just be Black Americans, cool, or brown Americans. If you're born here, you're American. I don't know, I think there's something there that doesn't sit well. Let's keep going.
How come when it comes to my people, y'all act like y'all can't give us our credit? And y'all know exactly what the heck I'm talking about. I'm on Twitter, people on here talk about Black Americans didn't create hip-hop, it was Jamaicans, it was the Puerto Ricans, it was everybody contributed to hip-hop, they won Black America. Why when it come to us, y'all don't want to give us our props? We give y'all props. Why when it come to us, it's just all of a sudden bro, we just stupid, we dumb, we didn't contribute nothing to society. I don't care what y'all say. Baby, we have done so much. You're not about to sit up here and act like we ain't do nothing. I don't care what the media tell y'all. If y'all would talk to us, we will tell you what we did. And I don't need no diaspora words in my comments. I'm not playing with y'all. Stop playing on our top. Everybody else created something and we ain't contribute nothing. Stop playing, bruh.
South Africans who welcome the presence of Americans and other Westerners in South Africa are part of the problem. Because it's not going to be funny in 5 years when you can't even afford to rent in your own city.
No, find your channel, because it needs to be said. Have you ever felt like because you were born in America, the Africans born in Africa who lives in America don't really like you like that? It's like they don't like you because you were born here. I don't really know how to explain it. They always make backhanded compliments, and every time you try to speak your language, they're always trying to make fun of you, and they talk about how little you know about the culture or whatnot. And kante Afriki, ante menkela, ante kaketa, ilete fuilon, ile American, ilete fuilon, and it kind of almost discourage you from getting to know your culture more. For me personally, every time they did those African group stuff where everyone, the little group stuff, I was never a part of that because I always felt like they didn't fuck with me like that, you know what I mean? So it's kind of just it was always this cold war between Africans born in America versus Africa born in Africa who lives in America. And this is all cultures. I'm talking about Nigerian, Guinean, Liberian, all over. So if you experience this, tell me what you think, because I know I'm not the only one. I know a couple people.
Sure. Music, hip-hop, jazz, R&B, soul, gospel, rock and roll, country. Food, we have soul food, your fried chicken, macaroni, collard greens, cornbread, all the Thanksgiving dishes that are really popular in America have roots from African Americans.
AAVE, like I said in the video, African American vernacular, our slang, which 10 years ago would have deemed you ignorant or uneducated, even your phrase, I'm trying to see something, that's us. Art, you have the Harlem Renaissance, the Black Arts Movement, everything you see today. Fashion, streetwear, which was essentially created by hip-hop, which, like I said, we created, and streetwear is seen and utilized all over the world, and so many prominent designers actually get their designs from Black American artists. They just steal them and we don't get the credit. Hair, which, while influenced by our African ancestors, Black Americans here turned the hair game into our own unique thing that people from all over the world utilize as well.
So one thing that's really annoying about being American in London is that, especially Black American, is that people will always ask you, oh, do you know where you're from? Do you know your background? Oh, Americans don't know their background. Americans don't know their background. Which honestly just shows their ignorance. Because unlike here, where Britain had colonies that were in Jamaica, Barbados, St. Vincent, there weren't really slaves in mainland Britain. So of course, it's easier for them to tell you where they're from because they're still coming from those countries constantly. Unlike America, our slaves were in America, in the States, all over the States. So when Black Americans were taken from Africa and wherever else and brought to the States 400, 300 years ago, we're not gonna say, oh yeah, West Africa, 15 generations ago. We know nothing about.
I genuinely believe that the reason why Black people will not be getting reparations is the only thing I can compare it to is Atlantis rising again. We're gonna become the superhumans that them people really think that we are, because it's kind of like a roach. I keep killing this motherfucker, you just keep coming back. Yeah, bitch. Black people have come back from every single oppressive thing that numerous groups of people have tried to put us through, and we are still the most oppressed group, and yet we just still see a reason to just get up the next morning and shine on. So could you imagine if all of us was on one, had our own little country and everything, the correct people running it, the women are educators, the men are hopefully not selling sweaters and hot wings, but they selling something, you know? Okay, the kids see kids that look like themselves, you know? If you want to go bunny hop, take your ass on back. But you know, like, it'd be a beautiful thing, I promise you, if Black people would just get out their own motherfucking way, and if we could just get what the fuck we're owed, to be left alone and a complete head start, we'll be motherfucking unstoppable.
Okay, like I always tell you, with every problem there is a solution, and within that solution comes the lesson. And we have to understand that we are all one. We've been scattered every place, all over the place, and adapted these traits in these different places. And some of those traits are good. It makes us who we are, and we find understanding the things that we love most. But if we start to realize, if we start appreciating us and respecting our own, then we can have respect for that person saying, oh, I made this up, or respect for that person and say, oh, you guys, that's your culture. And we can come together and have some kind of foundation of us all being together and realizing that we could all help each other. I don't know, man. You guys let me know down below on this conversation, and I'm going to continue this conversation as always on my morning show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 9 a.m. So you guys stay tuned. I love you guys, and let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below on this whole conversation right here. This is very, this is something that's been going on, and we gotta come to a point where we gotta love each other and have understanding for each other. Until next time, it's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe,